Impulse control, a core executive function skill. Impulse control supports thoughtful decision making and helps regulate urges, whether emotional, physical, or behavioral, so actions align with values and context. What is impulse control? Impulse control, also known as response inhibition, is the executive function skill that allows you to pause before acting. It gives your brain a crucial stop and think moment, helping you weigh consequences, consider alternatives, and choose actions that align with your long-term goals instead of just short-term urges. When impulse control is strong, it acts like a mental filter, creating space between the feeling of an urge and the decision to act on it. When it's weak or under strain, decisions can become reactive, leading to behaviors that create regret, conflict, or setbacks. Core abilities of impulse control include inhibiting immediate reactions or urges, the ability to hold back a reflexive response, even for a few seconds, creates room for intentional decision-making. Example: stopping yourself from hitting reply all in an email before double-checking who actually needs to see it. Pausing to consider consequences before acting. Impulse control helps you slow down long enough to ask, what happens if I do this? Example: putting your phone down at night instead of scrolling because you recognize it will cost you sleep. Resisting temptations or distractions. This skill helps you stay focused on your priorities instead of chasing every appealing but unrelated option. Example: ignoring a notification while working because you know it will derail your concentration. Thinking before speaking or interrupting impulse control also plays a key role in social communication, helping you filter words and wait your turn. Example: holding back a quick retort in a meeting and choosing a calmer, more thoughtful response, and matching behavior to the situation and your values. It allows you to choose actions that reflect who you want to be, not just what feels good in the moment. Example: walking away from an argument instead of escalating it because staying calm aligns with your goal of maintaining the relationship. Impulse control is foundational to self-regulation. It's what allows you to bridge the gap between what I feel like doing right now and what will help me succeed in the long run. Strengthening this skill can improve focus, reduce stress, and support better decision-making in every area of life. Impulse control challenges. Impulse control challenges often appear as acting too quickly without pausing to think things through. These behaviors aren't about carelessness or a lack of intelligence. They reflect the difficulty of creating space between an urge and an action. For many people, especially those who are neurodivergent, these challenges can show up across work, relationships, and daily routines. Common challenges look like engaging in risky or disruptive behavior despite knowing better. Sometimes, the logical part of your brain understands the consequences, but the urge to act overrides that knowledge in the moment. Example: clicking buy now on an expensive item even though you've been trying to stick to a budget. Blurting out thoughts without filtering. Without that split-second pause, words come out faster than you can evaluate them. This can lead to embarrassment or strained relationships. Example: interrupting a meeting to share an idea without realizing someone else was mid-sentence. Interrupting conversations or jumping ahead impulsively. Difficulty waiting your turn or sitting with unfinished information can make it challenging to listen fully before responding. Example: finishing other people's sentences or jumping in with a solution before they've finished explaining the problem. Making decisions too quickly and regretting them later. Impulse-driven decision-making can lead to choices that feel good in the moment, but create frustration afterward. Example: accepting a new commitment immediately, only to realize later that it conflicts with other priorities, and struggling to stop mid-task or shift away from an urge. Impulse control isn't just about resisting urges, it's also about knowing when to disengage. Some individuals find it hard to pause once they've started, even if it's no longer the best use of their time. Example: playing a mobile game for just 5 minutes, then realizing 45 minutes have passed. The unique challenges for neurodivergent minds. Impulse control struggles are especially common in ADHD, autism, and related conditions, not because of a lack of discipline or care, but because the brain processes stimulation, reward, and regulation differently. For neurodivergent individuals, factors like emotional intensity, sensory overload, and executive fatigue can make it harder to pause before acting, even when they know what the better choice is. These challenges are not character flaws. They're rooted in brain wiring and can be supported with the right tools and strategies. Neurodivergent specific contributors include dopamine seeking behavior in ADHD, urgency delay. The ADHD brain is wired to prioritize immediate rewards. Waiting or delaying gratification can feel physically uncomfortable, which pushes impulsive behaviors. Example: buying something online the moment you think of it rather than waiting for payday, simply because the now feels more urgent than the later. Emotional impulsivity, strong feelings, override, rational filter. When emotions run high, the pause button becomes harder to access. Feelings can hijack the brain's self-regulation systems, leading to reactive choices. Example: snapping back during an argument even though you intended to stay calm. Sensory impulsivity, fidgeting, pacing, touching objects. For many neurodivergent individuals, movement and sensory input are a form of regulation. Here are some strategies for strengthening impulse control skills. Strategy number 1: build in pause cues and decision buffers. When impulses feel urgent, even a few seconds of delay can shift you from reaction to reflection. Use simple prompts like pause, breathe, choose. Before acting, visual or verbal cues remind your brain to slow down and insert a brief decision point. Example: put a sticky note with pause, breathe, choose on your laptop or wallet as a visible reminder. Set up short delay rituals, e.g., count to 5, take a sip of water. These micro rituals create a buffer that interrupts automatic behavior long enough to consider alternatives. Example: before clicking buy online, count down from 5 or take a deep breath. Then ask yourself if the purchase aligns with your priorities. Practice impulse awareness with small, low-stakes tasks. Strengthen your pause muscle in safe situations before using it for bigger ones. Example: delay checking a notification for 30 seconds, noticing the urge without immediately acting on it. Strategy number 2: reduce temptation and distraction in advance. One of the easiest ways to improve impulse control is to design your environment so the default choice works in your favor. Use blockers, limits, or physical distance from known triggers. Remove or reduce access to things that spark impulsive behavior. Example: install app blockers during work hours or keep tempting snacks out of immediate reach. Create friction between urge and action. Add small steps that make impulsive choices less automatic. Example: store snacks in an opaque container that's stored on a high shelf, adding enough pause to rethink grabbing them. Schedule impulse time to indulge safely or creatively. Rather than suppressing every impulse, redirect them into healthy outlets. Example: block out 15 minutes for playful, low-stakes activities, like doodling or movement breaks, so impulses have a safe place to land. Strategy number 3: reflect and reframe without shame. Impulse control is a skill, not a test of willpower. Learning from your impulses without judgment makes it easier to grow over time. When an impulse leads to regret, explore it curiously instead of beating yourself up. Reflecting without shame builds insight instead of reinforcing frustration. Example: instead of thinking, "I have no self-control," ask, "what triggered that decision, and how can I support myself better next time?" Ask, "What was I trying to meet in that moment?" Many impulses come from unmet needs, like boredom, stress relief, or connection. Identifying the need helps you meet it more effectively. Example: Realizing you stress ate chips not because you were hungry, but because you needed a break, allows you to replace the habit with a quick walk or grounding exercise. Celebrate micro wins. Every time you pause, even for a second, you're strengthening the impulse control skill. Recognizing these moments reinforces progress. Example: if you waited 5 seconds before responding in a tense conversation, that's a success worth acknowledging. What progress looks like. Impulse control growth doesn't happen all at once. It's gradual and often subtle. The goal isn't to eliminate every impulsive urge, but to build space between the urge and the action, creating room for choice. Over time, this shift leads to more intentional decisions, greater self-trust, and less frustration with yourself. Signs of progress include noticing the impulse before acting on it. The first sign of progress is simply becoming aware of the urge as it happens. That awareness alone is a win because it means you're no longer running on autopilot. Example: you catch yourself reaching for your phone out of habit and pause, even if you still pick it up afterward. Interrupting or reacting less often in social situations. As your pause button strengthens, you find yourself interrupting less, blurting out fewer unfiltered thoughts, or waiting before responding. Example: during a conversation, you feel the urge to jump in but hold back for a few seconds, letting the other person finish speaking. Delaying gratification more consistently, you start to tolerate short waits between the impulse and the reward, which is a key skill for executive function growth. Example: you decide to wait 24 hours before making an online purchase, and often find the urge fades, or you make a more thoughtful decision. Making choices that reflect long-term goals instead of short-term urges. Instead of defaulting to what feels good now, you choose actions that align with your priorities and values. Example: you resist staying up late to binge watch a show because you know feeling rested tomorrow will matter more. Recovering from impulsive moments with self-kindness and insight, progress also means reframing mistakes. Instead of spiraling into shame, you treat each impulsive moment as data and use it to adjust your strategies. Example: you order takeout on impulse, but pause afterward to ask, what was I feeling and what could I try next time? Impulse control progress isn't about being perfect, it's about creating choice. Each time you notice, pause, or reflect, you strengthen the skill and build trust in your ability to regulate, one decision at a time. Thanks for watching.